Tech a lot of credit. I think they're, as you saw, a team that continues to play with great attitude and effort. You know, a great football game from that end of it things. And from our end, I think it was great to see resolve from our kids. Some guys stood up and made some plays when they needed to. And but yet there were some things, you know, really collectively through the game, coaching myself first on that we got to be better if we want to continue to grow as a football program and a football team. So with that said, I'll open it up for you guys. Yeah, I just think that all the credit's got to go to our kids. I mean, you know, this is a team that's been whatever we were, 1 and whatever to start the season. You know, you struggle, you get behind, you know, in terms of where you want to be, and yet our kids have never flinched. And I think that's the story of the character of this team so far. Now, there's a lot of football left to see what their defining character traits are, but this is a group in terms of leadership, investment, player ownership that really stood up, and there were guys and really a team that stood up and made plays when they had to today. Was not perfect, wasn't pretty, and you know, I think that is a positive characteristic at times, is when you can win when you don't play your best football, and we certainly didn't today. Right? Like, you know, I probably feel that way for a while here, but you know, it was kind of one of those games where he had to, and it wasn't perfect. Brock would tell you that, you know, it wasn't perfect, but you know what? When that kid needed to make plays, there were some third down plays, there were some drops, and he just keeps playing, you know. And just some situations where, you know, that's what makes that young man really special, is that play that he makes, 3rd and 9, he steps up and delivers a big-time ball, and obviously he makes a great catch. But, you know, that's a tough defense. I thought going in, a lot of credit to Texas Tech defensively. They do a lot of things, and, you know, I think Brock had to really just grind through it throughout the football game, but I was proud of the way he did. Again, it probably in rhythm a little bit of our team. You know, there were some really good moments and there were some maybe not as good moments, but I think there were way more good than bad, you know, and obviously it was fitting in the second half of the game, just like it really has been all year, where, you know, when our defenses needed to rise up the most, they rose up and made huge plays. And so, you know, I think that obviously the turnovers become the difference in the football game. Marcel, you know, probably got to get him in on offense at some point. You know, he's a guy that can catch the football. He told me he could. I didn't believe him, but that's great. And obviously Greg Eisworth. But those plays, critical moments, and a lot of credit to Coach Haycock, our defensive staff. And again, that's a really good offense that has certainly given a lot of people trouble throughout the season. Who are you? Who are we? What are we about? You start to lose some games, you're really a pretender. All the work that you put in is pretend, because you weren't really trying to be. You were trying to be somebody, not do something. Where this football team, I think, has really invested to try to do something, but that wasn't us in the first half of the football game, not exactly what we've strained to do and become. Yeah, we weren't good. I mean, I'd love to sit here and give you a great answer on that. We weren't, you know, to give up a block punt. They schemed us, you know, and did a great job. There wasn't anything wrong. It's not our kids. We just got to do a better job, and it starts with me as the head coach doing a better job of that, you know. So I thought there was some response, though. You know, we did some good things. I'm not going to sit here and say it was terrible, you know, but there's obviously, you know, 3 weeks in a row where, you know, there have been some major malfunctions on special teams that have cost either field position or touchdowns. And, you know, we just got to get it cleaned up, and the credit goes to them. They made some great plays, but we have to be better than that. You know, I mean, gosh, there were a lot of guys in the box in some different moments, a lot of moving parts. But I thought, you know, he stayed the course. He's violent. He's a workhorse, and, you know, we're going to continue to give him the football. I was really proud of him, because when we needed him the most, he was able to rise up, especially in some of those critical situations in the goal line and red zone areas. Coach. Yeah, so Zeb, you know, Zeb was not with us. Kind of took a personal leave of absence this week, and, you know, I don't know where that is right now, but, you know, he did nothing wrong, and there was nothing, you know, in terms of anything else other than I think we'll have maybe some definitive to that here maybe sometime next week, and I'll certainly let you guys know. Yeah, you know, again, I think there's obviously great coaching going on, but when you look at the guys like Ray Lima and the way that Willie Harvey's playing right now as a senior on our football team, and, you know, Jaquan has been consistent, and Spencer Benton, and some of those guys that are veterans. There's a lot of veteran guys that have played the same position consistently on the defensive side of the football, and then you know their character and their work ethic that they put into it. I think surprise would probably be maybe not a fair term because I really believe in those kids and I know what they stand for and what they're about. So, you know, so much credit goes to them and their character and who they are and what they're doing. But it's not even maybe a surprise, but it certainly makes you feel good that they're being rewarded for the time and effort that they put in to becoming what they have the ability to become. Yeah, I love it. He's going to keep playing that way because that's who he is, you know, and so we're really fortunate. I think we've got really good depth here, whether, you know, Zeb chooses to be with us or not. I think there's some really good players, and obviously we've got a senior leader that's, you know, one of the best leaders in our program. So I feel really comfortable with where we're at, and, you know, I certainly, you know, I love Zeb, what he's about and what he stands for, and we'll kind of see what decision he chooses to make here. I think so much today was way more about the coverage. You know, obviously a really good play by Jaquan, but the coverage today in some certain situations was outstanding. And, you know, I know a little bit of, even back to our previous game, you know, there were some coverage situations where our guys are doing a great job covering down the field and letting those guys work. And I think that was certainly a huge situation on that play, on that third down play. And obviously Jaquan's relentlessness to get to the ball, great, but the coverage unit, talk about coverage sack, I think the coverage has got to get a lot of credit for it. Yeah, you know, again, until we look at the film, we'll see. You know, there was a lot of pressure, you know, and there was a lot coming at them. And, you know, whether it was pressure or they were bringing more than we could handle at times, you know, we'll look at it and see. But, you know, give credit, tip your hat to them. But I don't know if we took a total step back today on the offensive line. I thought those kids fought through it too, but I'll know better, and I'll let you know Tuesday. My fault. You know, I put them in a bad situation. You know, we thought, I know what we had. We had a chance to, you know, make a play down the field, and, you know, that's bad coaching. So it's my fault. I took the ownership of it. Which I should have, and, you know, you move forward. So I put them in a really bad spot, so give him more credit overcoming bad coaching. Well, again, and it's so much credit to our kids. You know, I mean, it wasn't perfect 2 years ago, and it certainly wasn't starting out perfect this year. And, you know, that's obviously something that I got to work on to get our kids better and ready to prepare it in September. But, you know, I think it's a situation where our kids and the leadership and the investment of our kids have done a phenomenal job in terms of investing in the process, you know, and getting better one day at a time. And I think you have seen our football teams get better over the last 3 years. And now, what a challenge. You get to November, and contender, pretender, who are you? You know, we're going to find out each week, and it'll be really interesting to watch this team. Can they stay the course and get better one week at a time? You know, last year I thought we ran out of some gas, you know, but it'll be really interesting to see what this group chooses to do. Good. It was in honor of Randy that we put Cambell in on offense, so got under center and ran the ball, so he had to be proud, and I hope you're right about that, please. And then, you know, the honesty of him, you know, he's just a guy that has, I think his story so parallels to our team. You could easily have been frustrated when you're not playing, especially as a senior. You know, Mike is very similar, Mike Warren's very similar, Mike got dinged up or he would have played more today. But there's guys that have, you know, they just kept grinding away and kept earning trust of their coaches and their teammates, and, you know, they're guys that are helping us when we need them the most. They're stepping up in some powerful situations, and tip your hat to those guys. But Camilo, I'm really, really proud of, because the journey hasn't always been easy for Camilo, but he stayed the course and he's been really loyal to his teammates and himself, and I'm proud of him. It does, because he dropped the third down ball, right? So it must be only touchdowns, but you know, he's a pretty good player, and he'll continue to get better. But I'm really proud of him. He's having a really good football season for us, and obviously that tight end position is really important to us and our success. Thank you, guys.